Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. It's another paid request. This time for Kyle. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting any type of videos, a topic, reaction, commentary, review, re-review, what have you, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And this is for George of the Jungle, a 1997 family film based on... There was a cartoon, and of course the song as well. And the film stars Brendan Fraser, Leslie Mann, Haden Church. Yeah, the voice of John Cleese. Richard Roundtree, which I forgot he was in this. And I had not seen this film in a long time, but it was actually pretty good. It was short. It was sweet, it was goofy, but overall it was fun. Yeah, the CG effects don't hold up the best, because it's 1997 we're talking about. But yeah, there's enough sincerely sweet moments, especially because of Brendan Fraser's performance. There's enough of the better than average script. The script for it is actually not too shabby. And it has a good energy to it. From the opening, very catchy theme, even the animated opening has a good energy to it. Where they explain there was a plane crash and George is out there and George of the jungle. And throughout the film, you have this narrator talking. He is brave. He is smart. He hit something. He is unconscious. And that's what I mean. Like, other than a handful of times, there's not as much juvenile humor. There's a few fart jokes later on, which I'm not big on. Although the sequel, which Kyle asked me to review that as well, felt even more juvenile compared to this. But again, what makes the film work is, like I said, the script, there's a bit of a more wit than you would think about, and stuff that I genuinely laughed at. That, of course, based on the cover, the title, all that stuff, you would know this is a parody of Tarzan. And if you hear the background, even the Dutch, they're whooping in glee that I'm talking about George of the Jungle at least. Maybe they're Brendan Fraser fans. And so am I. I like Brendan Fraser, and that is a big reason why I did enjoy this film, is because I like that actor. I'm glad he got a bit of a comeback. Granted, I don't know how far it'll go, but at the same time, he did the film The Whale. He won an Oscar. Even if he did nothing else, at least there's that on his palette. And ever since I saw him first in Encino Man, that was the first film I saw him in, I've enjoyed him ever since. And this film, The Mummy, Moneybone, I remember not minding. Of course, he's done serious work like School Ties. Trying to think. I mean, not every film he did was a winner. Furry Vengeance was not a winner. But again, he has this sweet nature to him. I keep repeating that because that definitely is a big positive, is how sweet the movie feels. And Leslie Mann, who was in The Cable Guy as Matthew Broderick's girlfriend, she's able to have that glee to her that could be somewhat infectious. She goes to the jungle, and then her possible fiancé to be, Haden Church, which he plays a good bad guy. He's smarmy, he's prickish, but at the same time he's a very talented comedic actor. So he's definitely a guy that to bring that little smarm to him that you want to punch in the face, but at the same time he's not annoying, he's not irritating, he's a good foil for our hero characters. Like I said, rest in peace to Richard Roundtree. It's nice to see him in this. He's one of the porters, showing Leslie Mann around the jungle. And that's what I mean. When I said the script is better than average, the stuff they do with the narrator, where they see this view with awe, and they go, aw, no, no, A-W-A, ah, ooh, exactly. Or Thomas Haden Church thinks that the porters are primitives and they can't understand things, but at the same time, they make fun of his camera. They said, you have a good camera, but they got more of the high, up-to-date camera. And they're making fun of him and stuff. At one point, Leslie Mann gets attacked by a lion. George comes in and saves her. Of course, you find out later that the lion is friends with George. And there's a cute little bit where they help out this little monkey, and the lion helps out. And when he's hunting Leslie Mann, him and the lion share like a little wink to it. So it's a film that you just see kids enjoying. They enjoy the cute animals. The idea of George having a pet elephant that acts like a dog, from going back in the day to the old cartoon and stuff. I think for the time they did what they could with the special effects. At least they merged it with like a real elephant and then having additional CG enhancements. Again, it's hard to make an elephant look like, or I should say, act like a dog. Kind of hard to do that practically. So you had to have CGI used. Again, for 1997, I think they did what they could. Yes, it may look a bit funky nowadays, but I could let it go. And then the practical effects where, for example, an ape named Ape, voiced by John Cleese. Decent practical suit that they have there. And John Cleese, of course, from Monty Python, among a variety, A Fish Called Wanda. Good voice for the character. You also have the bird, the toucan, who likes to go tootie tootie tootie. And yet you just say that the plot doesn't really dive into a plot for a chunk of the film. It's pretty much Leslie Mann's in the jungle. Thomas Haden Church has followed her. The two of them and Richard Roundtree and the other porters are going through the jungle. She gets separated, like I said, tapped by a lion. George saves her. And then a chunk of the film is just George showing her the jungle. Showing her his treehouse. Showing her an ape named Ape where she faints. So John Cleese decides not to talk in front of her. Instead act more like a monkey. Or an ape, I should say. At one point, again, there's a little monkey that, again, the way Brendan Fraser works with it, and it's like, okay, you have to pretend like you're listening to this little monkey, and you have to react to it. And the way he does it in a way that he's committed to the scene, where like you don't feel like he's, oh my god, what the hell am I doing? Or why am I here? Or, oh, I'm okay, you know. Sincerity. There's a sincerity to Brendan's performance that I think works better than you would think and is a lot more important than you would think to a movie like this. Just, it's like, well, if he believes in it, that he's talking with his monkey, so that when this lion comes up and the monkey wants to be friends with these other monkeys, but they want nothing to do with him, so he does this cute, like, little Tarzan bump on his chest, to scare the lion. And all the monkeys are friends with him now. And then Brendan's like, and the lion's like, again, it's goofy, but child friendly. It works for what it needs to do. And then ultimately, one thing leads to another. Thomas Haden Church tries to kill him. He just knocked out. He goes to the city. And pretty much just him hanging around the city. And again, if you've seen Tarzan, you kind of know where it's going. She's fallen in love with him. She's let him see the sights. Her mother doesn't approve of this. Meanwhile, some guys in the jungle, they see a talking ape, so they want to capture him and take him to sell him. Now again, do all the jokes work? No. There's some juvenile humor. There's a bit where an elephant pees on something. There's again, when they're taking the ape and he's in the cage, there's a couple times he farts. Oh, hey, farts are good for teeth. No, I mean, I hate that stuff. I never liked that stuff in pretty much any movie. So, didn't like it in this. And like I said, the plot at least is short enough so it doesn't overstay its welcome. But again, it's not a deep plot. It kind of just wanders around at times. Like when he's in the city, oh, okay, let's have a scene where he's hyped up on coffee. Let's have a scene where he's going around the city by himself. Like there's a point where he's on a bus on top of it and he's eating McDonald's. I don't know how he got McDonald's. I don't know how he paid for it or how he knew what to order. Because it did. He's never been to a city before, but I guess he knows how McDonald's works and how to pay for it. More like, hey, I'm sure McDonald's was a sponsor of this, so they probably had to sell some toys. Have George eat some McDonald's. Why not? Hey, I would eat McDonald's too if I go to the city, so I can't blame him. But you also have a couple decent bits of stunt work in this. Spoilers for a film from 1997. There's a bit where there's a guy on a bridge who I guess he was parachuting. He got stuck. He's hanging there. So you see George going up the bridge because it takes place at San Francisco is the city they're in. And there's a bit where he's swinging. And there's these great wide shots. Yes, the up close with Brendan Fraser, effects work, but these wide shots where it's a real guy swinging across his bridge, and that's some pretty good stunt work. And even when he saves the guy and he gets the parachute and then it blows off and you see the wide shot of the guy flying around with his parachute just... It's pretty dangerous stuff. I mean, what was it? The first Triple X movie with Vin Diesel? There was a guy who... Like, he's supposed to get this parachute out and there's this bridge. And I think sadly the stuntman died doing that. So... That's when parachute and swinging in bridges, you never know. Because if you do it the wrong way, you just smack the bridge and die, or land in the water too hard, too fast, and die, or get hurt very badly. So there's always a risk. But I didn't commend the stunt people for doing that. Even in the finale, there's, I thought, some very goofy, fun stuff that reminds me at times of either the Three Stooges or other of those kind of physical slapstick. Other bits I enjoyed, again, spoilers, I enjoy the bit where the two bad guys, well, one of them's arguing with the narrator, and so the narrator does some stuff, and the guy's like, are you fine with the narrator? Stop that. When George comes in, you have this bit, like some of the fighting, when I said Three Stooges, like there's a bit where George does this and he punches, but he elbows the other guy and punches and he elbows the other guy back and forth. That's something that I remember clearly seeing in the Three Stooges back in the day, and I laughed then doing it. Like, again, that kind of humor I grew up with, I'm more partial to, like the type of silly slapstick humor, so maybe that's why at times I gravitate more towards that than farts and stuff. The elephant is able to shoot coconuts. At one point, shoots a toucan, the toucan, Tutti Tutti, at one of the bad guys. Some other decent stunt work. This bit where Leslie Mann and Thomas Haden Church's characters are on this raft, and they're going down these pretty slippery rapids. I even like the bit at the end when it shows the aftermath and they had a kid and they do a big old ode to the Lion King. So I say it's one of those movies where yes, the plot is not going to be memorable. Again, it's a take on Tarzan, and you see it's a movie kind of trying to find a plot. Like, where's the plot? Where's the plot? I don't know where the plot is. So it's not going to be something you invest in the story or twists and turns of the story, any of that sort. But yeah, it's more of the sincerity of the performances, like Brendan Fraser showing his very sweet, affable side that seems genuine. Thomas Haden Church being a fun, smarmy villain. Again, I see people like Richard Roundtree and Leslie Mann in there. Other than again, a few juvenile jokes, other jokes worked better, and I did laugh a couple times in this. And again, the movie's like an hour and 20 some minutes. It's a lot better than the sequel, which I'll get to. Spoiler: at the end of the sequel, it's literally okay, them find bad guys again, but using a lot of elephant shit among other stuff. So there you go. But that'll be next time. So with that said, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys later. Bye bye.